The Silent Watchers. For 300 years, the Nexian Empire had carved their dominion across the stars with plasma and fear. Their crystalline ships, beautiful and terrible, swept through system after system like cosmic locusts, leaving broken civilizations in their wake. The Nexians, beings of living crystal and cold logic, saw expansion as their birthright and resistance as an equation to be solved with overwhelming force. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of Titan Station, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the latest refugee convoy arriving from the Centauri sector. The ships were battered, some held together by little more than emergency force fields and determination. They carried the survivors of the most recent Nexian conquest, the Alderaan Republic, once proud traders and artists, now reduced to seeking sanctuary in human space. 67 worlds, Lieutenant Commander Marcus Rodriguez said quietly beside her. That's how many they've taken in the past decade alone. Chen nodded, her expression unchanging. And each time, the other species ask why we do nothing. Why humanity stays hidden behind our quantum barrier, protecting only our solar system while the galaxy burns. The quantum barrier, humanity's greatest achievement and best-kept secret. To the rest of the galaxy, it appeared to be a simple defensive shield protecting Sol's system. None suspected its true nature as a sophisticated cloaking device that hid humanity's true technological advancement. The Prometheus is ready, Admiral Rodriguez reported, his tablet displaying the classified feeds from Luna shipyards. Final quantum core calibrations were completed this morning. Deep beneath the surface of Luna, in shipyards that officially didn't exist, humanity's answer to the Nexian threat took shape. The TSS Prometheus wasn't just a warship, it was a revolution in physical laws made manifest in steel and energy. While the Nexians had mastered conventional physics, humanity had learned to bend reality itself. "Show me," Chen commanded, and Rodriguez expanded the holographic display. The Prometheus appeared before them, a ship that defied conventional design. Its hull was composed of overlapping planes that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, a visual representation of the quantum engineering that made it possible. Traditional weapons would pass through it like trying to shoot a dream. The quantum fold drive is operating at 99.9% efficiency, Rodriguez continued. The reality manipulation arrays are stable, and the temporal shielding can withstand up to a Class 4 causality paradox. She's as ready as she'll ever be. Chen allowed herself a small smile, and the Nexians still think we're centuries behind them, barely able to achieve interplanetary travel. Their latest intelligence report classifies us as a primitive species of minimal concern. A flash of light on the display drew their attention. Another Nexian fleet had just appeared at the edge of Alderaan space, their crystalline ships refracting starlight like deadly prisms. The invasion of yet another peaceful system was about to begin. "They're attacking the Myriad Collective now," Rodriguez reported grimly. Population of 12 billion spread across 3 worlds. Minimal defensive capabilities. Chen straightened her uniform, a decision crystallizing in her mind. Enough watching. Contact Luna Command and the Security Council. Tell them. She paused, watching as the first Nexian dreadnought opened fire on the Myriad's orbital defenses. Tell them it's time. The next 6 hours were a blur of activity. Throughout the Sol system, carefully maintained facades began to drop. Hidden shipyards awakened, quantum cores hummed to life, and crews who had trained for years in secret made their way to their posts. The TSS Prometheus would not go alone. 5 additional ships of the Titan class, each carrying technology that would rewrite the galaxy's understanding of what was possible, prepared to break humanity's long silence. As Chen took her place on the Prometheus's command deck, she felt the weight of history settling onto her shoulders. Humanity had waited, watched, and prepared while other species suffered. They had built their strength in secret, knowing that when they finally revealed themselves, it had to be decisive. "All ships report ready, Admiral," Rodriguez announced from his tactical station. Quantum cores synchronized, reality anchors stable. We can execute the fold jump on your command. Chen took a moment to study the faces of her bridge crew. They were the best of humanity. Scientists, warriors, and explorers who had dedicated their lives to preparing for this moment. In their eyes, she saw not eagerness for battle, but grim determination to end a tyranny that had gone unchecked for too long. Send one final message to the Security Council, Chen ordered. Operation Thunderbolt is commencing. May God have mercy on our souls. The Prometheus's quantum core began to pulse, its impossible energies preparing to tear a hole through space, time, and everything the Nexians thought they knew about the universe. In less than an hour, humanity would reveal itself to the galaxy not as the primitive species they were thought to be, but as its potential saviors. The time for watching was over. The time for action had begun. Project Prometheus. The TSS Prometheus materialized in the outer reaches of the Myriad system like a ghost becoming corporeal. Behind it, 5 sister ships emerged from quantum space, their hulls shimmering with energies that defied conventional physics. The Nexian invasion fleet, 40 ships strong, continued their advance toward the inner planets, unaware that their carefully calculated victory was about to become something else entirely. Multiple civilian vessels detected, Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez reported, his hands dancing over the quantum-linked interface. Myriad refugee ships attempting to escape through the second Lagrange point. Nexian destroyers are moving to intercept. Admiral Chen watched the tactical display with cold focus. The Nexian attack followed their standard pattern: eliminate escape routes, destroy defensive installations, and then begin their methodical harvesting of resources and technology. They had performed this dance 67 times before, but not this time. Deploy quantum anchors, Chen ordered. Lock down this entire sector of space. Reality itself seemed to shudder as the human fleet activated their most devastating technology. The quantum anchors, devices that could locally freeze the fundamental constants of physics, sprang into existence around the battlefield. The Nexian ships suddenly found their exotic crystal drives struggling against laws of physics that no longer obeyed their expectations. Quantum anchor field stable, Rodriguez confirmed. Enemy fleet is contained. The first sign that something was wrong came from the lead Nexian destroyer. Its crystalline hull, designed to channel and amplify energy in ways that had made the Empire seemingly invincible, began to resonate at frequencies it was never meant to handle. The quantum anchor field was turning their greatest strength into a vulnerability. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Security Force. Her voice transmitted across all frequencies, translated perfectly into the crystalline harmonics the Nexians used for communication. Your campaign of conquest ends here. The response was predictable. A full barrage of energy weapons from the Nexian fleet. Under normal circumstances, such an attack would have annihilated any opposing force. But as the beams of destructive energy approached the human ships, they encountered fields of manipulated spacetime that bent their trajectory into harmless curves. Return fire, Chen commanded. Show them what humanity has been working on while we watch them destroy world after world. The Prometheus's primary weapon wasn't a conventional gun or energy projector. Instead, 6 quantum manipulation arrays activated simultaneously, creating overlapping fields of altered reality. In the space around targeted Nexian ships, probability itself became a weapon. Crystal lattices that had a 1 in a trillion chance of failing did so all at once. Quantum states that should have remained stable for millennia collapsed in seconds. 3 Nexian destroyers simply ceased to exist, their perfectly ordered crystalline structures dissolving into chaos as fundamental forces turned against them. The rest of the fleet, witnessing weapons that shouldn't have been possible, began emergency maneuvers that their suddenly unreliable drives couldn't execute properly. Enemy fleet is attempting to retreat, Rodriguez reported with grim satisfaction. Their faster-than-light drives are offline, due to the quantum anchor field. Chen nodded. Launch the Oracle probes. From the human ships, dozens of small devices emerged, each carrying an artificial intelligence dedicated to a single purpose: understanding and countering Nexian technology in real time. As they approached the crystal ships, they began transmitting streams of data that interfered with the very resonance patterns that made Nexian technology possible. The battle, if it could be called that, lasted less than 15 minutes. When it was over, the pride of the Nexian Empire drifted powerless in space, their crystal ships now little more than beautiful sculptures. First phase complete, Rodriguez announced. No casualties among the myriad civilian ships. All Nexian vessels have been neutralized. Chen allowed herself a moment to study the battlefield. Decades of preparation, countless resources, and humanity's finest minds had all led to this moment. But this was only the beginning. "Open a channel to the Nexian command ship," she ordered. It's time they understood exactly what they're dealing with. The main screen flickered to life, revealing the crystalline form of the Nexian fleet commander. The alien's faceted surface reflected light in patterns that expressed shock and confusion. "Impossible," the Nexian transmitted, its crystalline harmonics translated perfectly by human systems. "Your species was assessed. Primitive, limited, isolated. You saw what we wanted you to see," Chen replied. "While you conquered and destroyed, humanity prepared. We watched every invasion, studied every technology you used, and developed countermeasures for them all. Your empire thought it was the apex of evolution, but you became predictable. Stagnant. The empire will not stand for this." The Nexian commander's harmonics shifted to frequencies indicating threat. "Our full might will descend upon your worlds. Your species will be erased." Chen smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Look around you, Commander. Your ships are disabled by technology you didn't even know was possible. Your weapons are useless against our defenses. And this," she gestured to the battlefield, "this was just one fleet. One small demonstration of what humanity can do." She leaned forward, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's long-held purpose. "Your empire has two choices: withdraw from all conquered territories and return to your original borders, or face the full consequences of having humanity as an enemy. You have 6 hours to communicate this to your leadership and begin compliance." The Nexian commander's crystalline surface vibrated with frequencies indicating disbelief and fear. "You would destroy us." "No," Chen replied. "We're not conquerors like you. We're offering you the chance to be better. To join a galaxy where species help each other instead of destroying them. 6 hours, Commander. Make them count." As the transmission ended, Chen turned to her crew. "Send word to Earth. Phase 1 is complete. Begin preparations for Phase 2. She looked out at the disabled Nexian fleet, knowing that across the Empire, reports of this battle would be causing panic in crystalline halls of power. Humanity had revealed itself at last, and the galaxy would never be the same. Ripples of change. News of humanity's victory spread across the galaxy like a shockwave. On thousands of worlds, beings gathered around communication terminals, watching and rewatching the footage of 6 human ships dismantling a Nexian battle fleet. For species that had lived in terror of crystalline ships appearing in their skies, it was more than a battle. It was hope made manifest. In the Prometheus's tactical center, Admiral Chen studied the incoming reports with Rodriguez and her senior staff. Holographic displays showed the movement of Nexian forces across the galaxy, their previously methodical expansion now thrown into chaos. "They're withdrawing from 14 systems," Rodriguez noted, highlighting sectors where crystalline ships were retreating. "But they're also consolidating forces here, and here." 3 massive fleet concentrations pulsed red on the display. "They're adapting faster than expected," Chen observed. "The Nexian High Command isn't going to accept our ultimatum. They're preparing for a full-scale war." A junior officer rushed into the tactical center, their tablet displaying urgent data. "Admiral, we're detecting quantum fluctuations from the Nexian homeworld. Massive energy signatures. They're activating something big. The main display shifted to show the Nexian capital system. At the heart of their empire, energy readings were spiking off the charts. The crystalline beings were channeling power through their entire planetary network, creating something that made even the advanced human sensors struggle to comprehend. Analysis, Chen demanded. The science officer, Dr. Maya Patel, stepped forward. They're using their entire civilization as a quantum resonator. Every crystal structure, every building, every ship, all vibrating in perfect harmony. The energy output is astronomical. They mean to show us that they still have tricks we haven't seen, Rodriguez said grimly. This could be bad. Admiral. Chen's expression remained composed, but her eyes betrayed concern. Contact Earth. Tell them to accelerate Phase 3. We need the Helios protocol ready now, not in 2 weeks. As her officers rushed to comply, a transmission cut through all channels. A signal so powerful it bypassed every encryption and security measure. The tactical center's displays flickered, and then the crystalline form of the Nexian High Sovereign appeared, its faceted surface refracting light in patterns that indicated both rage and determination. Humans, the transmission began, its harmonics resonating at frequencies that made the air itself vibrate. You have revealed yourselves as deceivers and enemies of order. For centuries, we brought structure to chaos, unity to division. Our conquest was a gift, the gift of perfect crystalline harmony. The image shifted, showing the Nexian homeworld transforming. Their entire planet was becoming a weapon, its crystalline surface reconfiguring into what appeared to be a massive energy focus array. You thought you understood us, the High Sovereign continued. You studied our ships, our tactics, our standard technologies. But we are the living crystal, the perfect fusion of consciousness and structure. What we show you now is our true form, our true power. Energy began to arc between Nexian worlds, their entire home system becoming a vast machine of impossible power. Ships caught in the energy web began to transform, their crystalline structures growing and evolving in ways that defied known physics. My God, Dr. Patel whispered, staring at her readings. They're quantum linking their entire civilization, every crystal, every ship, every being, all becoming one unified quantum entity. The power output, it's approaching stellar levels. Chen watched as the Nexian ships closest to Earth began to change, their familiar crystalline forms warping into configurations that even humanity's advanced science struggled to analyze. This was the Nexian Empire's answer to humanity's ultimatum, not retreat, but transcendence. All ships, battle stations, Chen ordered, her voice cutting through the growing tension. Begin quantum anchor deployment, full coverage. Whatever they're becoming, we need to contain it. But as the human fleet moved to respond, the transformed Nexian vessels demonstrated capabilities that exceeded even humanity's worst-case scenarios. They didn't just resist the quantum anchors, they absorbed them, using the human technology to fuel their own evolution. Multiple Nexian fleets converging on our position, Rodriguez reported, his voice tense. Their new configurations, our predictive algorithms can't make sense of them. They're operating outside known physics. Chen stood at the tactical display, watching as the greatest gamble in human history teetered on the edge of catastrophe. They had prepared for every scenario they could imagine, but the Nexians had responded with something unimaginable. Send word to Earth, she commanded. Tell them to activate the Lazarus Protocol. All of it. Her officers stared at her in shock. The Lazarus Protocol was theoretical, untested. A last resort so dangerous that its mere existence was classified beyond top secret. Admiral, Rodriguez began, the Lazarus Protocol could destroy us all, Chen finished. But if we don't use everything we have, right now, there won't be a galaxy left to save. She turned to face her crew, her expression resolute. We watched them for centuries, prepared for every possibility we could conceive. Now we find out if humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology, but our ability to face the impossible and refuse to back down. As orders were relayed and the Lazarus Protocol began its activation sequence, Chen watched the approaching Nexian fleets. Humanity had thrown down the gauntlet, and the Nexians had responded by rewriting the rules of reality itself. The true test of humanity's preparation and resolve was about to begin. The Lazarus Gambit. Deep beneath the surface of Europa, in a facility that existed in carefully calculated quantum uncertainty, the Lazarus Protocol awakened. Machines that operated on principles even their creators didn't fully understand hummed to life, drawing power not from conventional sources, but from the quantum potential of parallel universes. On the bridge of the Prometheus, Admiral Chen watched as humanity's final contingency plan unfolded. The tactical display showed the transformed Nexian fleet approaching. No longer ships but crystalline entities that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, their very presence warping the fabric of space-time. Lazarus Protocol at 30% activation. Dr. Paddle reported, her voice steady despite the sweat beading on her forehead. The quantum field is stabilizing across the solar system. Rodriguez's tactical display suddenly flared with warnings. Multiple dimensional incursions detected. The Nexians they're pulling reinforcements from alternate timelines. The space around them fractured as crystalline megastructures emerged from nowhere. Versions of the Nexian fleet from realities where they had achieved even greater power. The human fleet now faced not just one transformed enemy, but an army drawn from across the multiverse. They'd weaponized probability itself, Dr. Patel breathed, staring at her readings in disbelief. Every possible version of their civilization, all attacking simultaneously. Chen's expression remained composed, though her eyes betrayed a fierce intensity. They're not the only ones who can manipulate reality. Lazarus Protocol, Phase 2. Authorization, Chen Alpha 009. Throughout the solar system, quantum receivers activated. The Lazarus Protocol wasn't just a weapon. It was humanity's attempt to harness the fundamental nature of consciousness itself. Every human being connected to the quantum network became part of something greater, their combined will focusing through technology that blurred the line between science and metaphysics. Consciousness quantum field established. Dr. Patil announced, every human mind in the solar system is now linked through the Lazarus network. Collective quantum coherence achieving critical mass. The transformed Nexian fleet struck first, their crystalline forms radiating energy that could unmake matter itself. But as their attack reached the human ships, it encountered something unprecedented. A quantum field sustained by billions of linked human minds, each contributing to a collective act of will that defied physical law. Impossible, the Nexian High Sovereign's transmission cut through all frequencies again. Your biological minds cannot maintain quantum coherence at this scale. The mathematics. You never understood us, Chen interrupted, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's collective determination. You saw biology as inefficient, consciousness as chaos. But chaos is our strength. In unpredictability, we found infinite potential. The Lazarus Protocol reached full power, and reality itself seemed to hold its breath. The quantum field generated by humanity's linked consciousness began to reshape space around the fleet, not through crystalline precision like the Nexians, but through the chaotic, infinite creativity of billions of human minds working in concert. All ships, execute attack pattern Omega, Chen commanded. Show them what humanity can really do. The battle that followed defied description. Human ships, powered by the collective will of their entire species, moved in ways that should have been impossible. Where the Nexians brought order and crystalline perfection, humanity responded with controlled chaos and infinite variation. Each human vessel became a focal point for possibility itself, their weapons guided by the combined intuition and creativity of billions. Their quantum matrix is destabilizing, Rodriguez reported, watching as the first waves of multidimensional Nexian ships began to falter. The chaos of our attack pattern, it's disrupting their crystalline harmony. The Nexians had achieved perfect unity, but that unity became their weakness. As the human fleet struck from impossible angles, guided by the unpredictable quantum field of linked human consciousness, the crystalline harmony that gave them power began to shatter. "You force us to take drastic action," the High Sovereign transmitted. "We will collapse all probability waves. Every possible timeline will converge. The power release will sterilize this entire sector of space, but order will be preserved. Now, Dr. Patel," Chen commanded. The scientist activated the final phase of the Lazarus Protocol. Instead of fighting the Nexian probability collapse, the quantum field generated by humanity's linked minds embraced it. Billions of human consciousnesses focused on a single possibility, a future where cooperation replaced conquest, where diversity was strength rather than weakness. The laws of physics trembled as two fundamentally different approaches to manipulating reality clashed. The Nexians brought the cold precision of crystalline computation, trying to force the universe to conform to their vision of perfect order. Humanity brought the chaos of countless minds dreaming of a better future, each contributing their own unique perspective to the quantum field. Reality chose chaos over order, possibility over certainty. The crystalline harmony of the Nexian fleet began to fracture. Their multidimensional reinforcements, fading as probability waves, resolved themselves according to humanity's collective will. "Their quantum cohesion is failing," Dr. Patil announced. "The unified consciousness of their civilization is breaking apart. They can't maintain their transformed state." One by one, the mighty ships of the Nexian fleet reverted to their original forms, their attempt at transcendence undone by the chaotic potential of human consciousness. The High Sovereign's transmission became erratic, their crystalline form unable to maintain its coherence. What are you?" the High Sovereign demanded, their harmonics fracturing. Chen stood on her bridge, her voice carrying not just her own authority, but the will of her entire species. "We are human. We are chaos and creativity, determination and dreams. And we are offering you one last chance to choose a different path." The battle was over, but the true test of humanity's vision for the galaxy was about to begin. Dawn of understanding. The aftermath of the battle brought a silence unlike anything the galaxy had known. The once mighty Nexian fleet hung dormant in space, their crystalline ships no longer radiating the overwhelming power that had made them legendary. On thousands of worlds, beings of all species watched their communication feeds, waiting to see what humanity would do with their victory. Admiral Chen stood in the conference chamber of the Prometheus, facing not just the holographic form of the Nexian High Sovereign, but representatives from dozens of species who had suffered under crystalline dominion. The chamber hummed with tension and possibility. "Your civilization's attempt at quantum transcendence failed," Chen said, addressing the Nexian leader. "But what you achieved, even briefly, proves what we've always believed, that your species is capable of far more than conquest." The High Sovereign's crystalline form shimmered with frequencies indicating confusion and reluctant admiration. "You could destroy us now. Our fleet is powerless, our quantum network shattered. Yet you speak of capability rather than surrender." "Because destruction has never been our goal," Chen replied. She gestured, and Dr. Patil activated a holographic display showing a new kind of quantum network, one built not on crystalline precision, but on the interplay of diverse consciousnesses. "What you see is Project Harmony," Dr. Patil explained, "a quantum communication and cooperation framework that can link different species, different ways of thinking, without requiring them to sacrifice their unique nature. We developed it not just as a weapon, but as a bridge." The Nexian leaders studied the display, their crystalline surface refracting light in patterns that suggested deep thought. "Our entire civilization is built on the principle of perfect order. You ask us to embrace chaos. We ask you to embrace potential," Chen corrected. "Your crystalline technology, combined with other species' diverse approaches to science and consciousness, could transform the galaxy, not through conquest, but through collaboration." Around the chamber, Representatives of other species began to speak up. The Myriad Collective's ambassador, their bioluminescent form pulsing with emotion, described how their organic technology could interface with crystalline systems. A quantum drift philosopher demonstrated how their gas-based computing could add new dimensions to Nexian processing capabilities. This is what we prepared for during our centuries of isolation, Chen continued. Not just to stop your conquest, but to show all species a different path forward. The Lazarus Protocol proved that consciousness, in all its chaotic glory, is the greatest force in the universe. But only when we work together. Hours stretched into days as the details were negotiated. The Nexian Empire would withdraw from conquered territories, but not in defeat. Instead, they would return as partners, their crystalline expertise helping to rebuild what they had destroyed. The quantum network that had briefly linked human minds would be adapted, becoming an interstellar framework for cooperation and cultural exchange. 1 month after the battle, Admiral Chen stood on the observation deck of Titan Station once again. Below her, ships from 100 species docked and departed, crystalline Nexian vessels alongside organic myriad transports, energy-based quantum drift explorers beside human quantum ships. The latest reports from the former Nexian territories are promising, Rodriguez said, joining her at the window. Their crystalline technology, combined with local engineering methods, is rebuilding infrastructure 10 times faster than projected. And the cultural exchange programs are oversubscribed on every world. Chen nodded, watching as a newly commissioned ship emerged from the quantum shipyards. Its hull combined crystalline focusing arrays with human quantum technology and myriad organic computing, the first of a new class of vessels designed and built by multiple species working together. The Nexian High Command has submitted a fascinating proposal, Dr. Patel added, her tablet displaying complex quantum algorithms. They want to repurpose their planetary quantum network for computational archaeology, using crystalline precision to reconstruct and preserve the cultures they previously sought to erase. And the Lazarus Protocol? Rodriguez asked quietly. Deactivated but not dismantled, Chen replied. A reminder that consciousness, whether human or alien, is the greatest force for change in the universe, and that true strength lies not in domination, but in the courage to imagine and work toward a better future. Outside the station, a Nexian diplomatic vessel prepared to depart for their homeworld. Its crystalline surface had been modified, incorporating designs and technologies from a dozen species. As it engaged its quantum drive, the crystal facets rippled with colors that would have been impossible a month ago, a visible symbol of how change could make something beautiful even more extraordinary. There will be challenges ahead, Chen acknowledged. Old hatreds don't disappear overnight, and not everyone will embrace this new way forward. But we've proven that different species, different approaches to science and consciousness, can work together to achieve something greater than any of us could manage alone. The observation deck fell silent as they watched ships of former enemies working together to rebuild the galaxy. Humanity had revealed itself not as conquerors or saviors, but as catalysts for a transformation that would ripple through the cosmos for generations to come. In the space where a battle had nearly torn reality apart, species that had once sought to destroy each other now worked together to explore the infinite possibilities that cooperation could bring. It was not a perfect ending. Those rarely exist outside of stories, but it was a beginning filled with hope and potential. The crystal ships still sailed among the stars, but now they brought understanding instead of fear, their ethereal beauty enhanced by the chaos and creativity of countless other species. In the end, humanity's greatest victory had not been in defeating an enemy, but in showing the galaxy a new way to grow, to learn, and to thrive together in the vast cosmic dance of existence.